Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Dice Cast. I am Russell Zahn, and with me I have.
Fishman.
Well, last we left off, Aquans and Jonas had encountered a sunken watchtower that seemed to have some bizarre leech like creatures in them and a number of humanoid prisoners. They attempted to liberate them and were met with mixed results, to say the least.
Did not go as planned.
No, some of the prisoners escaped into the wilds to be eaten by wolves or something else, probably.
Yeah.
Not really our concern, though. So we're going to be picking. So we're going to be picking up after that, and it's going to be the. It's going to be in the evening, and we're going to pick up, and we're setting up camp for the evening. So, is there anything you want to do during camp apart from our usual routine before we set up?
I do want to try and I have a large mandrake root, so I would like to use that and try and make 2 greater healing potions.
Right, so that's going to be part of what you do on watch, I presume.
Yes, because I did not use any luck, which is really bizarre because I usually just go through that like what.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
All right then. So we're going to set up camp. You're going to get the hut out.
Yep.
I'm going to do my alarm spell, and then I guess we'll start with you on watch.
Why not?
All right.
Want a perception check?
You can do the perception check, or you can do the potion first. It's up to you.
Perception check.
Okay.
That will be an 18.
All right, that's a good check. So now, do you want to roll for your potion?
Let's see. I want to see if I have enhanced ability. Oh, I have it on the ring. Hold on a second. I do have it on the ring. I'm gonna cast enhanced ability.
All right, I assume for Owl's wisdom to get advantage on the medicine check.
Yep. And
All
then I'm gonna roll. I have to make a 20 for this, so
right. What potion are you making?
greater healing.
Greater healing is only 15.
Really? Oh, it's the heroisms that are 20. Yeah.
Heroism and invisibility are the 20s, yes.
Well, that will make that a 21.
All right, so a 21. So you had a large mandrake left, you said?
Yes.
All right, so that technically can be used twice to make 2 potions.
Do I have to
So use
roll?
half of. Sorry?
Have to roll 2 times then?
No, you can only make 1 potion at a time, but you have half of it left over for next time.
Oh, I thought I was gonna make 2.
No, you can only make 1 potion at a time unless you roll a natural 20, in which case you get a free potion out of it, basically. But you have half of it left over, but you mix in the rest with your medicinal herbs, and you're able to create a greater healing potion.
Okay, hold on a sec. I got a point of clarification then. So I rolled 2 die.
Yes.
The better one was an 18 and stuff. The other was a 5. So could I use my luck to re-roll the 5 in the really obscure chance that I might get a 20 out of it?
I'll just double check the feat here for a second.
I know I'm kind of milking this here, but I do want to get 2 of them out of it because I really burned through a lot of healing potions.
It's whenever you make an ability check, so yeah, you can spend any amount of your luck here on this if you want. However, it's only an additional die you get to roll with luck.
Yeah, but I can keep the 18, right? So
Well, with advantage, you just take the better result. So
I'm screwing the 18 possibly.
no, you take the best result with advantage.
Yes. So
Yes.
if I use luck, I no longer have an 18. I have whatever I roll.
No, you roll 2 dice with advantage and you take the best result.
Yes.
Yes, so the best result in this case is the 18. If you want to re-roll the 5, you can.
Using luck, but I still keep the 18 if I screw
Or,
the.
no, I think you're right. I think it is the other way around. So yeah.
Yeah, no. All right, never mind. I will keep the success.
All right,
Guys,
so you have a greater healing potion.
yes.
All right.
Well, that's it. That's all I need to do. Oh, actually, I'm going to be doing some research on the salve, but I got the natural 20 on that last time. So,
Yes. So
um,
that covers your watch, which goes by uneventfully.
yay.
None of those bizarre leech-like creatures seem to come after us.
Yeah.
All right. So we move on to my watch. All right. So I no longer have my familiar from last time because it got struck with a lightning bolt.
Yep. Through
So,
me, up to you, going through your familiar at the same time.
sorry?
And some poor peasant.
Yes. Yes. So she died her lightning bolt. So I'm going to ask to borrow your familiar for advantage on watch. I don't know if it works that way, actually. We've never done that.
I
No.
don't think so.
All right. So this is just going to be a straight roll then.
Yep.
All right. Well, in total, that's a 9. All
Well,
right.
hopefully nothing's going to sneak up on us.
So as opposed to continuing on with my transcribing, which I only have 10 hours left on, I'm going to use part of the time on my watch to resummon Alice.
All right.
Yeah. So I think you have I think you're the one who has the ingredients for Find Familiar on.
You don't
Character.
have any?
No, I think we've just been using the same pool.
I thought you picked up some of your own.
Uh, no, I don't have any on my character sheet.
All right. I guess I'll be scratching off one of those.
Yeah, we were just pulling them together, I think, is what we did.
Ah, cheapskate.
All right, so I'm going to resummon Alice, which takes an hour and 10 minutes during watch, and I'm going to roll for her hit points. 3.
-1, isn't it? Or is that with the -1?
What is the cat's hit points? It's been so long since we rolled for this. Nope, cat's just a 1d4, so it's a 3.
Oh, there you go. Not that it matters.
So she has 1 more hit point than she had last time.
Guess she's forgiven you then. We're getting her, well, electrocuted.
Yeah. All right. One other thing I want to do, because it's going to be short, is I haven't done this yet, but I'm going to take some of the gem dust mixed with ink I have in my component pouch, and I am going to inscribe my rune of locating on my arcane grimoire, because I haven't done that yet.
Oh, all right.
That only takes 15 minutes to do. That's the ritual, so
All right.
shorter. All right.
So that's it, basically.
All right. Does anything happen during my watch? Yes, that was a low roll. But no, my watch also goes by uneventfully.
Luck is with us.
Yes.
For the
To
moment.
start with.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So we wake up in the morning.
Yep.
The dome vanishes, and a rush of cold air greets us.
Oh, yes.
Because winter is days away at this point, and there is frost on the ground and the grass.
Yep.
So there's no snowfall yet, but you cannot help but imagine it's not that far off.
Yeah.
So it is chilly in the morning, which you definitely notice.
And you probably don't.
All right. So the first thought that goes to your mind is that probably we want a fire for a warm breakfast for the day.
Yeah, I think a nice hot meal would be beneficial. I tell you, when I get to Lyria, I definitely want to stop in at a good restaurant or good inn, or I want someone else to cook my hot meal for me.
You want something besides whatever rations we still have at this point.
Yeah, we are still burning through those quite quickly, but yeah,
Yeah,
something different would be nice.
and that basically is a good point to point out. Mark off another day's worth of food.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been at this a while now.
Yeah, by my calculations, we've burned through more than half of the food we picked up since we left Vern's Run.
Yeah. Fortunately, we are in the last leg. We are currently right about here.
Yes. Fortunately, another thing that is only days away is our arrival at Lyria by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, then. So we have our meal. I'm going to roll 2 new portents. You get all your luck back.
Yep.
We both have our familiars now.
Didn't use my wand last time, so I don't have to roll for that. It's fully charged. And
I'm not using the ring anymore, but it definitely is fully charged by this point because there's no point in rolling. Even if I can't even remember if it wasn't fully charged last time or not.
well, it's been a few days, so
Yeah, it has. It also doesn't matter because I'm not attuned to it, so I can't use it anyway.
short rest. Hour
Yes.
break.
All right, then.
Off we go.
Off we go. So we are continuing our journey south along
Yes.
by the coast here towards Lyria.
Yes.
All right. So as we continue down, the path winds backwards inland a little bit.
So it's starting to veer off a little bit towards inland.
Yeah, because Lyria is inland and most roads tend to avoid the coast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And as we see that it is winding towards a wooded area that is not on our map and is near the mountains.
Okay.
So I assume we're going to continue following the road.
I would like to. I would like to check. I want to see if this is leading us not in the direction I want to go. I know we want to go almost due south. What is this road doing to our path? Are we
Well,
veering too much to the east?
the road is not a straight line.
Yeah.
So, the road is winding and curving a bit. It is heading away from the coast back towards inland, but it is still heading south. This is still general direction is going. So, it is probably something like, well, if you want to put a cardinal direction on it, south by southeast, but still veering towards south more.
Okay, because as far as I know, Lyria is basically just like almost literally on the coast.
Yes.
So, all right, I'm gonna keep an eye on that as we travel. Every now and then, I'll send my owl up and make sure we're not going too far away from the coast.
Right. So then we can have your owl make a perception check with advantage.
There's a waste of 2 really good rolls. 22.
22. All right. One of the things this actually lets you do is in the distance, your owl can actually see the fortified city that we assume is Lyria.
Oh, we're really getting close there.
Yes. Your owl could, in all likelihood, fly there.
Yeah.
The road,
if we were in a rush, we could fly there.
but we're not. We don't know if we don't know if it's going to get us an hour is going to get us there or not. And if you do, it's a 4th level spell slot gone that we might otherwise need.
Yeah, and also it kind of paints a target on us depending on politics and other things.
And we have no idea what defenses Lyria might have to deal with a giant eagle or whatever you were planning on turning us into.
And flying, yeah. So anyway, I think a walk is fine.
Yeah.
We're not in that big of a rush.
The road is heading in that general direction.
Okay.
It does go into the woods, though. Your owl also notices with that roll that there is what looks to be some sort of village or settlement in the woods as well.
That where the road heads to?
You think the road might head there first and then continues on to Lyria.
All right. On we go.
All right.
This one's not on fire though, right? Been a few of those lately.
You see no smoke on the horizon.
Good. Might be on fire when we leave.
Yeah, there was another village that happened to. It wasn't. We didn't burn it down though.
No.
But it was on fire when we were leaving it.
True. All right.
All right. So as we continue down the road, you can move ahead to the next image. Yeah. All right. Can I just get a general Constitution check at this point, just to see what pace we're going at?
Not enough to require a Constitution check.
Sorry.
With modifier 20.
All right. With my modifier, 11. So we're going at a pretty good pace. All right, so it takes us about an hour by foot before we get to this basically section of the woods.
Is there a stone circling your head at the moment?
There is. I have an iron stone circling my head.
That was a bad roll you did that.
It only improves my modifier by 1.
I thought it was a Constitution check.
It was a Constitution check. I added 5 to that. It was a low roll.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
You rolled bad.
All right. All right. As we're heading towards this area, we see a fork in the road up ahead, a bridge, and we hear the sound of water not rushing by, not like the previous examples we've had with ravines. So we do see the ravine and we do hear water rushing below.
Okay.
And it's at this point that something happens. It's quite quickly, but this shadow basically passes over us at great speed.
Heading which direction? And did I get a good look at it?
You can roll a perception check if you want.
Yeah, my owl's still out.
Yep.
So. 22. Wow. I'm wasting all the good rolls now, I tell you.
Even with a 22, you do not get a good look at this thing. It was moving quite fast, and the best you can describe it as is a relatively large, vague black shape flying overhead.
The 22. That was 1 from a natural 20. It's probably what I needed.
I mean, this proves nothing.
I can't see it.
But yes, a natural 20 was what you needed.
All right. Do I know the direction it's heading in?
Yes, it is basically flying overhead in the same direction we are, but we're going by the road. It's not. It's basically going in a straight line towards over the ravine, you think.
And
All right, and just to be clarified, we can see this from a distance. We aren't quite at this fork yet.
okay. And is it continuing or is it descending, ascending?
Before it gets out of the sight, it just keeps going.
And how far do I think it's ahead of us by the time I can't see it anymore?
That will be an intelligence check because you're just estimating based on what you can see its trajectory and its fly speed.
Oh, there goes the bad numbers. 9.
Too hard to tell. It is momentary. It is here momentarily and then gone. That thing was whatever it was flying quite fast.
Well, I've seen my owl fly top speed because it's, sending it places. How fast do I think relative to her was it traveling? The other question I'm going to ask my owl, are you jealous? Because that was fast.
Hang on, it's not in that book, it's in the other one. I knew I was going to need another book. All right. All right. And your owl's fly speed, if I remember correctly, pairing the two here. you want to roll intelligence check for this, or do you want to go off the? It'd be a separate check for this.
21.
Oh, you roll well on the one that was the easy DC.
Yeah.
You think they were flying at comparable speeds?
All right.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to continue along our path then?
Yeah. Just keep on heading in that direction. Keep my ears open.
Yeah. So a few minutes later,
Yep.
something else catches our eye.
A busy morning.
Yes. The first thing we notice is that there is a bright light just off in the woods, and it's getting a bit closer towards us.
Bright light. Is it? It's not on the path, right? It's just
No,
woods.
just off in the woods. And just as we're basically noticing that, it comes out, we see a large white wolf, which is giving off an aura of silver white light that is illuminating this admittedly kind of overcast morning, but still.
All right.
And
this
it
is
does
unusual. A glowing wolf.
Yep. And it does spot us. And it is looking in our direction.
Arcana check or nature check?
Which would you like to roll for? There's obvious magic at work here, so this will be Arcana.
Yeah. That's not very good.
You do have luck if you want to reroll.
Oh,
Okay.
16.
16. It is a large wolf, so you suspect this is a dire wolf, not a standard wolf, but even they do not normally give off magical auras of light. And this is bright light that this creature is giving off.
What kind of demeanor does it have? Is it angry? Is it curious?
That would be an insight check, so that's a separate roll.
I have nature. Does that help?
Nah, this is insight, I'm afraid.
13 minus 1. 12.
-1?
Oh, wisdom. Sorry, this is wisdom, right?
Yeah, insight's wisdom.
14 plus 1.
14. It is relatively calm, a little cautious, curious about us, and just from that roll, behaving not the way in which a wolf would normally behave around two humanoids. Normally, wolves tend to avoid people.
All right. I am going to put my hand on my charm of animal influence.
Yeah.
I'm going to cast Speak with Animals.
All right.
A male or female wolf?
That would be yet another. That would be a nature check.
Oh, come on. It better be a really low DC. It's pretty obvious. Does he have dangly bits or doesn't he have dangly bits? Never mind, I rolled a natural 1.
All right. This is not covered in that, so I'm just going to. All right, you cast the spell.
Yep.
And you're casting the wolf to open the magical two-way communication that the spell allows you to normally have with animals.
Yep.
And it does not work.
Oh. Alrighty then. I pass this information on to you.
Yes. Not an animal, at least not so far as the charm is concerned.
Either it's extremely intelligent, or it's, well, extremely, both 3.
Yeah.
Or it's a magical being.
Yeah. Doesn't count a creature that otherwise considered not an animal.
Yeah.
All right. At this point, after you take out the charm and you cast the spell from it, which, by the way, mark out the fact you used one of his charges.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. The wolf turns and heads off down the path, running, but stops to look back at us and then keeps going.
So hope there wasn't anything I tried to say.
Yeah. From your previous insight check, you think it looking back there this might be misreading the situation, but it's almost like it was waiting to see if we were going to follow.
Is this like a Lassie thing? Little Richie or whoever is stuck in the well, please come with
All
us.
right, that is a really dated reference.
Yeah,
I barely know what you're talking about, but okay.
I've never seen the show, but it's one of those things that go around.
It's just going off your previous insight check.
Hey,
Wolf,
go with Littlest Hobo because I did see that on Corner Gas.
yes, a slightly less dated reference. It did look back at us, and you think from your early insight check, maybe it was waiting to see if we were going to follow it before it headed off.
And if we start walking that direction, saying we're coming, does that make a difference?
It's already headed off at this point. It was moving. It was running.
Great hearing, so I say,
yeah.
Slow down. You're getting ahead of us.
It's running along the path, as far as we can tell.
Right. If it doesn't turn around or anything, I'm not going to worry about it.
All right, so we're going to continue on then.
Well, we got two things in that direction that have got my curiosity up, so why not?
All right. So a few moments later, as we follow along the path, I assume at a slightly quicker pace now.
Yeah.
Than the saunter we were going at before, we do finally come into basically the top of this image, the road up there.
Okay.
All right, so we're coming down. We can see the fork ahead of us.
Yep.
One does go across the bridge to the ravine, and one does continue ahead of us.
All right. Before we muddy any kind of tracks that might be at this fork, I'm going to stop, have my owl pop up, circle around a little bit. Which direction is the village in?
Right. Well, you don't have to roll for that because you already know where it is with the owl, and your owl can see it. It is across the bridge.
All right. Now I'm going to look at the ground, and maybe the wolf came this way, maybe not. I'm going to check for really large doggy footprints.
All right, roll a. This is either perception or survival, up to you.
I'll have survival.
Yep.
Oh, not 20.
All right. You look around along the path.
Yep.
And with that roll, you look back and forth. There are no wolf tracks at all along this road. And with that roll, you're looking back the way we came. Even though we're following along the path, there are no wolf tracks as far as you can tell.
So this creature or whatever it is not leaving tracks?
With a natural 20, that is the conclusion you come to, yes.
So while my owl's up there, does she see that flying creature? Or the wolf, either one?
You can roll a perception check then for that.
21.
21. All right. All right. Your owl sees three things.
Okay.
The first thing, because it's obvious, not trying to hide, is that there is a carriage coming along.
It's not trying to hide. Okay.
No, it isn't. It isn't hiding. It's a carriage, a horse-drawn carriage.
Yes.
And it's coming up from the bottom of this picture here, the road. So it's heading towards the bridge.
Okay. Horse-drawn, you said?
Horse-drawn. Yep. There is a driver with the reins.
Yep.
And the carriage does have like an enclosed space inside. You think there may or may not be people in there. I don't know. It looks like a passenger carriage though, more than baggage carriage.
Okay. Not really. Well, we were in Vern's Run for quite a while, so we are relatively familiar with, an urban carriage, one that's just meant for people. And also probably because we've been there long enough, I'm sure we've seen pass as like a stagecoach. One there, people will book passage to somewhere fairly distant. Does this look like a short distance or long haul carriage?
I won't make you roll for that. You think this could this is a slightly fancier looking carriage.
All right.
So you
And just
think
one
this
or
is
two horses?
there are two horses,
Yeah. All right. So probably short distance.
probably shorter distance, and basically thinking it back on the places we've been to along the way, it would either probably have to come from some place like Vern's Run that could afford a carriage like this, or more likely, given the proximity, probably Lyria.
Yeah.
It is coming from the other village, though, you know.
Okay, I want to.
There are, man, that was only one of the things your owl saw.
Yeah, well, it was just based on that alone. I want to not occupy the center of here. Just
Yeah.
right about here. I want to be there.
Right, so you want to go off the road a little bit.
I want to be where I can hail the carriage and not get run over.
All right.
And then the other two things are
The other two things are with that roll. The next thing, most obvious thing you notice is there is. You don't actually see the wolf itself, but there is that silver white light you remember that surrounded it. You can see it off in the woods a little bit.
which side of the bridge, like the side we're on, or across
No,
the.
it's on the opposite side of the bank, so it's crossed over the bridge most likely, or just jumped the ravine. You don't know,
Yeah.
but it is on the other side now.
Okay, and the third thing.
The third thing you notice is that large black shape, at least what you think it is. It is flying higher than your owl.
Yep.
And it is circling this area.
Okay.
All right. Now that you have spotted it, you can roll a more. You can spotted it. Yeah. I want to make you roll for this. No, I won't. You rolled high enough.
Okay.
It is a large, like a giant black bat.
A speedy giant bat.
And from that, and just from going off of that, you know that giant bats have a flight speed approximate to your owl.
Okay.
So those are three things you see from that check, and you want to stand off the side just to possibly get the carriage's attention, but not obstruct them.
Yeah, I want to look like a highwayman.
Right. So we're just basically standing by, this tree for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, we're just waiting right here, waiting for them to come by, trying to look non-threatening.
Right.
Are they in a hurry?
They're slowing down a little bit because they're going to be coming across the bridge, and it's dangerous to cross a bridge like this too quickly.
Okay.
Right.
But the horses weren't galloping as they're headed up here, were they?
No, they weren't. Yeah. But there's the turn up ahead, so they might start to move quicker afterwards. You don't know.
Yeah. All
right. As the carriage approaches the bridge and starts to cross over it, I'm going to ask for one more perception check from each of us.
Screwed that up. 12, no. 11.
19 for me. So you don't notice anything, but as the carriage starts to approach the center, I say, that seems to be creaking an awful lot.
The bridge?
And just as I say that, the support of the bridge seems to collapse in on itself, and the bridge is coming apart.
So they're going to head for the water, are they?
They are going to be heading down into the ravine. Yeah, and it is exactly halfway across the bridge when this happens, and we have a moment to react if you want to do anything.
I am going to first step, go to the corner and look down How far is the fall? Oops.
Right, so you're looking down. You want to see how far the fall is.
Yeah.
It is. The walls aren't actually that steep, but it does go down quite a ways.
Like, what? 40, 50 feet, 100 feet, 200 feet?
Not 200, no. It would probably be closer to somewhere around 70 or 80 feet down.
Well, that's a lot. So,
There also, as you notice, is the water is flowing, but there are stones protruding down there.
oh, so this is like a land and gets skewered kind of thing.
Not skewered. They're not stalagmites or spikes, but there are rocks down there. It's not going to be a soft landing, especially not for a carriage.
Well, I don't, even if I had levitate prepared, it would not be enough. There's no way that a carriage holding people, horses, and everything else is possible to levitate.
No, I do have Featherfall prepared.
Yeah, so do I. But we don't see inside the carriage.
You don't see inside the carriage. We only target people with Featherfall, and or creatures. Sorry, and the creatures we see are the two horses and the coachman.
All right. Technically, the coachman, not a problem. He'll just float gently.
Yes.
Two horses tethered to a coach. I think that might just be a bit beyond Featherfall.
Yeah, that might be outside the range of Featherfall. All right, yeah. But we literally have a moment to think about this before, like.
The only thing I can think of that even would remotely have a possibility of working is for me to polymorph myself into the big ape and climb down there and hopefully catch them or prevent them from falling at all. Are they... The bridge has cracked and it's processing them falling, or
as far as you can tell, the supports to this bridge have given way. It's all coming down.
That's all I can think of. 4th level spell slot.
All right, so you are going to cast Polymorph and turn into a giant ape, which is going to freak everyone out.
Yep.
And you are not going to have time to climb down there. You're going to have to jump.
I'll try and do a... Well, actually, that doesn't matter. Giant apes have the same climbing speed as they have walking speed. The climbing doesn't change their... It's not a separate check. They can actually just proceed.
Yeah. But basically, my point here is we have a reaction, effectively.
Oh, all right.
Yes. So that, unfortunately, that plan isn't going to work.
Jump.
You can turn into the ape, and then you can jump down there, but the carriage will have fallen already.
Jump.
All right, so you jump.
Yep.
All right, I have some falling damage to roll here.
I'm gonna probably have to roll a concentration check.
All right. Okay. 8d6.
That's a fair amount.
All right. Eight. Wow. All right, that is 31 points of falling damage.
Ow. So that is a 15 on a concentration check?
Yes, half.
Natural 20. There's a timely number, I tell you.
So you're fine. All right. Everything else. Where is... You're trying to tell me there's no entry in the monster manual for horse? There has to be.
Probably in the player's handbook. They cannot survive if they're just people, and even horses, 8d6 damage.
There is no entry in the player's handbook for horse.
Really?
War horse.
There you go. Just make him weaker.
Yeah. So you land.
And I'm going to try and catch the carriage and absorb as much of that impact as I can.
All right, this is going to be a dexterity check, and it's going to be a high DC,
Yeah, I don't have any luck either.
and you have to make it as a giant 8.
I don't know the dex of a giant ape.
I'll look it up.
Doesn't come into things very often.
I mean, they're not very dexterous, I imagine. Oh, 14. It's the same dexterity I have now.
So clumsy. No, my dex is worse than that, so it's gone up by being an 8. All right, luck. Ah! So I rolled a 10 plus
2. Yeah, 12.
Well,
You go to catch it, and in your defense, you basically landed like a second or two before the carriage did.
yeah.
So you go to reach out and grab it, and you're just not quite quick enough, and you basically... Just going to roll this for a second. Good news is you do not collide with the carriage. You're able to stop before that. But the carriage does come crashing down into the ravine, I'm afraid. Right in front of you.
I would try and use my body to absorb some of that falling damage for them. So I'm not trying to avoid it. I'm trying to get underneath it and hopefully process it coming down a little bit more gently. So,
unfortunately, you didn't roll high enough to do that.
So I am not trying to avoid it hitting me. So it may hit me.
Do you want me to roll again? Oh, I'm afraid not.
No, didn't get there in time.
No. You were basically a second too late, and it crashes right in front of you.
So, dead people, dead horses.
Well, the horses are dead.
Yeah.
The coachman is flung from his seat in the carriage and lands a bit further down the ravine and is killed instantly. And the carriage itself is a mess. Oh, and by the way, one other thing, since you're right there now, dexterity saving throw, please.
No. Be an 8.
I mean, this is going to be minor by comparison. Oh, wow. I rolled relatively well on those dice. You take 11 points of bludgeoning damage as debris from the bridge hits you. And I'm going to need another concentration check.
Yeah. At least this one's a little bit better.
Yeah.
17.
The one good news I can give you is you keep the debris from falling on top of the carriage because it hits you instead.
All right. Once the drama is over,
yes,
I am going to try and peel open this squashed carriage. Is there anyone alive inside?
All right. So, as you basically pull through the broken carriage, in addition to the corpses of the 2 horses and the coachman, which is now further down the ravine, you see the bodies of a young man and a young woman.
So everybody died.
They are both dead, and they are relatively dressed up in what would pass for peasant finery, you think.
Oh, good God. This may not just be like... Is there like a just marriage sign on the back of this thing?
You do notice each of them is wearing a ring. It looks relatively new.
All right, we're starting off on a dark note here. Well,
you also see a shadow pass over you and the carriage as you're looking down at it.
I see the bat up there.
You see, it's a bit far out for the range for your sight, but you see that same black shape, which you assume is still the bat creature, flying across the ravine along the direction towards where you think the village is from where you currently are.
All right. Nothing I can do for these folk. I climb out of the ravine.
Which is much easier for you as a giant ape.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to ask one question.
Hmm.
Which side are you fucking up?
I'm gonna come up on your side, pick you up, put you
Yeah,
on my
I was
shoulders,
looking down at that and I said, all right, so what's going on? And you picked me up. And I
and then
assume you are going to.
go back down the ravine, cross over, and climb up the other side.
I was going to ask you if you wanted to try jumping across, but okay.
Nah, giant ape doesn't even need a check
No.
to thing.
I
So
said, okay, I think I could have misty stepped across, but
1/4 level spell slot guns enough.
well, misty step is only a second level spell. All right, so we're now across the ravine where the bridge is.
Yep. So we're over here.
Yeah, we're both fairly certain, by the way, from where we were traveling, that the road to Lyria is the other one.
Yeah, we're on a detour here. I gotta see what's going on over there. Let's head down this road, head towards the village.
All right, are you going to stay as the giant ape?
I have a relatively low intelligence now, so I am going to make a decision based on that. Oh, that's a good number. No, I decide that it's probably a little bit traumatic for them to see Kong coming into their village.
Yeah.
So I stop concentrating on the spell after all those lovely concentration checks.
Yeah.
All
The
that
good news
damage
is-
goes away, which is nice.
Yeah, the good news is you're at full health.
Yeah.
Though you're down a 4th level spell.
Yes. I tried to save them.
All right. As we head towards the road, we see that wolf with its silver white light aura come out again.
Mm-hmm.
And looks directly it's actually further back along the ravine from us.
This side or this side?
Other side, basically. Yeah, it's looking down.
Yeah.
At the, and we've been around animals enough our life and in the wilderness to know when an animal looks mournful. And it's looking down at the ravine and it does not look happy. And it looks back towards the two of us. And the last thing we see of it is before it basically vanishes, looks directly at us, and then almost with like a pleading look in its eye. And then it disappears in a flash of light and is gone.
Well, that takes care of my next possible action.
Yeah.
All right. We got a negative and a positive force here. I think the positive one is not happy because it lost something. On we go.
All right. And the only thing we can do now at this point is follow along the path that the carriage came from.
Yeah. Now that I'm a human again,
Yes.
and I have medicine as a.
Also, by the way, your owl is still because you didn't say otherwise. It's still up there,
Yeah. Now that
which does mean that that creature, the giant bat, did not attack your owl.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now that I have
Which
my
is-
brain back.
Yeah.
instead
Which
of
the
my-
first thing that pops in your head is you say that is unusual behavior for a predator.
Yeah. Well, the predators don't usually attack predators.
Well, an owl will be prey to a bat of that size.
Yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, now that I am human again, do I remember enough of what those bodies look like that is possible? I could have saved them with medicine, or still possible that I could save them. It's only been a few seconds.
I'm not going to bother having you to roll for this because no. The damage was just too severe from the fall. And bear in mind, believe it or not, the bodies inside the carriage were probably in worse condition than the ones outside because they had it collapse in on themselves. So they probably would have taken more damage.
Okay.
This isn't a modern car with like airbags that are designed to absorb collisions. This would have been worse.
Okay. I was just asking because, like I said, as an ape, I wouldn't make these thoughts, but
That is, and I guess we continue along the road.
Yep.
All right. At a reasonable pace, it's going to take us an hour to reach the village.
All right. I suspect it's probably best not to go at a reasonable pace. I think we should pick it up.
All right.
I think we should double time this.
All right. So you want to run, basically. All right. I will ask for a Constitution check.
Jog.
A jog. Okay. Yeah. So there's still going to be a Constitution check. So
21.
23. So both of us are invigorated by, well, the fact that we just saw a carriage purposefully destroyed because.
Unfortunately, as an ape,
Yeah.
I would not have looked for structural things.
No, but I heard that bridge coming apart, and we didn't check. This entire situation is making us think that that was not that was no accident. We don't think. We have no evidence to support that, really, apart from the fact that there was some giant bat circling the area.
Yeah.
However, emboldened by that, we head at a considerable pace, and we are able to get there in half the time. So it takes only half an hour to reach there.
Right.
All right. So you can move ahead to the next image if you want for the village.
How far in do you want me to go?
That's good.
All right.
All right. So we're approaching from the north road there.
Yep.
All right, we arrive in a village, and we see there is a sign here on a signpost that says the village of Last Host.
Okay.
And when we arrive in Last Host, it seems that some sort of celebration or festival is in the process of wrapping up.
Yeah. I am going to look for somebody who looks like they're kind of an authority figure, seems to be giving orders or whatever.
Well, one building that stands out is this, near the road, is this relatively L-shaped building, just like the larger one.
Yeah.
That it looks to be a local inn or tavern or some sort, and that's where most of the actual festivities are being set up.
Yeah. So
And that's where people are currently in the process of cleaning up. That one, yes. Everyone who is mobile and not either is lending a hand to cleaning up.
Yeah.
Everyone else is trying to wander off, basically, and head, you presume, to relatively all the other buildings about, which you assume are their homes.
Yeah.
So there do clearly, and you recognize a few people who look like they would be inn staff, you think, or tavern staff that might be currently lending a hand.
I'm going to find someone who looks like they might know something, and I'm going to walk up to them and say, "So, was there some sort of festival here recently?"
All right, so basically, you walk up to a relatively young woman who is basically looks like is just dressed in peasant garb, but also the attire looks like they would belong working at a tavern of some sort.
Yeah.
Yes, we're just cleaning up after a wedding, she says.
Oh God.
I'm sorry, but this was the story. It says, yeah. It says, in fact, if you came along that road there, or stranger, you may have actually run into the carriage leaving.
Well, we did see the carriage. It didn't make it very far. You have a mare.
As you say, it didn't make it very far. Like, all sound in the village stops. It is. You didn't say it very loud, but it's almost as if you spoke it as a clap of thunder, and everyone is now silent. And for a few seconds, there's a moment of shock before just a look of almost, well, despair, obviously, but resigned despair almost.
All right. I want to do an insight check here.
Mhm.
Were they expecting bad news? I mean, this seems like a really
You can roll your insight check.
This seems like a crazy kind of reaction. I was just doing this conversationally.
Yeah.
12.
The thought that goes to your head when you look on the face on quite a few of these people is, "Oh no, not again."
All right.
And there's a few other people, and there's one person who has basically just had a bunch of, plates and bowls in their hand, just slams them on a nearby table, relatively hard, you think, but they're earthenware, so they might have them. You don't hear any crashing or cracking, but it says again is what this young man basically shouts. There's a few other people who are in various stages of whether anger, grief, or just sorrow, and just looking around. Like this has the shock has worn off, and the other emotions are filling its void.
All right. So the lady I was first talking to,
Yes.
I do need to see a mayor. I need to know. I have some information about recent events, and I need to talk to someone in charge. Who would that be?
She says, "Well, we do not really have much of a mayor. We're just a small community here." Looking around now, you're looking at it when she says that. This town is not only smaller than Vern's Run, you think this town might actually be smaller than Lakeside. Like fewer people would live here than in the town that we grew up in. The closest person, sorry,
Village elder.
Yeah. You might want to talk to Katerina. She runs the local shrine. She's the closest thing to.
And that would be that building with the statues in front of it.
Yes, it is only a short distance away.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
All right, as you're about to leave, one person who was still sitting off the side of the table, also slams what appears to be a tankard, which still apparently had some drink in it, on the table, and this is noteworthy.
Okay. Is there something about that person that makes them stand out other than the fact that they're angry?
He's significantly older than the other assembled guests.
So, seen a few of these, maybe. Few too many of these.
He basically stands up and, before he says anyone, completely drains his tankard, which you think was about half full still, and then just puts it back down on the table. Doesn't seem to be swaying or drunk at all. Says, It says, "Well," it says, "I did warn you all." It says,
Right.
to the village in general.
I'm going to go up to this guy because he seems to know some of the history anyway, if nothing else.
Yeah. Says,
what did you warn them?
Even before, basically, before you have it, as you're saying that, basically, he says, "I told you it wouldn't just spare us." It says, "It's not even for a day." It says, you do notice he says "it" when he said that. All right, so then you go up and ask him what he's talking about.
Yes, I wouldn't mind an explanation, sir.
Hear people will whisper in the background. "Oh, well, some look like the strangers are going to have to listen to old Nikolai's stories."
Yeah. All right, Nikolai.
You notice that the crowd is dispersing at this point as well.
Yeah, I'm sure they've heard enough.
Yeah,
I have not yet.
He says, "Well, stranger," he says, "this is not the first time this village has been plagued by this. It says, "I'll tell you exactly what's going on. It says, the dead are walking and they're killing the living." It says, "Just like they did 60 years ago."
60.
He does look like he's over 60, you notice, when he says, after he says that. So,
but this reaction that I saw, does that make me think that this has been 60 years since this has happened last, or is this something that looks like it's happened recently?
that would be an intelligence check, just to try and work off of his reaction and words.
Well, that's a good number. 23.
23. As far as you can tell, you think that this has happened before. Like 60 years ago makes it doesn't make you that he isn't saying this is going on for 60 years, that something like this happened 60 years ago as well as now.
All right, that doesn't make sense though for the people. Most of the people that are shocked aren't 60, I assume.
No, he does look to be one of the very few people in the village who is over 60. You think he's probably over 70, to be fair.
All right,
There's not
sir. You seem to think that this is a recurring event from 60 years ago.
does that. He says he kind of puts a hand on your shoulder and
Yeah.
gets relatively close up in your face. And you can smell he's been drinking a fair bit from that. He says, that it is. He says, this 60 years ago was when the last time a creature like this plagued our village. Says, the rest of them may not remember it, but I was there when I saw it the last time, and I know what needs to be done now.
And what's that?
Says, it needs to be hunted down and put back in its grave.
And what is this thing that got put down in his grave 60 years ago?
Says, a monster. Says, a walking corpse that is a plague on our village and curses us every day.
Yeah, better description, please.
I'm just gonna roll a reaction to see how he responds to that.
All right.
That's actually a relatively well. That's an 18. That's quite well.
All right.
So he's civil about it, but he says, I don't have time to waste educating the young about the history of this village. He says, I need to get to work quickly. And he basically doesn't really shove you, but he's basically going to be heading off by the looks of it.
all right.
Uh,
On to
Relatively steadily, and you notice that he gives a whistle, and a dog, which apparently would also a relatively old dog as well, who was you didn't notice was sitting near him, and comes up and falls behind him, and they head off
okay.
down by the basically the road is heading east on the map.
Okay.
Yeah, the tavern keeper you were talking to comes over and says, "Old Nikolai is the caretaker at the cemetery."
I think it goes with the job.
She says, he is one. He has been rather vocal lately that whatever has been afflicting our village happened before when he was a child. And he apparently is one of the few who still remember this the last time.
Okay. So it's not one bad event recently, it's a number of bad events.
It has been, she says, one tragedy after another almost.
For how long?
She says, going back a few months now.
You guys have been putting up with this for months?
She says, we are all alone out here. We're isolated from the rest of the world.
A big honking city just that way.
She says, we considered sending a message to Lyria,
Yeah.
but it came to the decision that very few people would go out their way to aid our community against whatever this is.
Well, you're looking at two of them.
As old Nikolai thinks that some horrible creature has crawled out of one of the graves and is punishing the village for something, or just tormenting it. Others think we've fallen under a curse, and a few people believe that she points over at towards the shrine, says that we've fallen out of the gods' favor.
All right. Katerina was the name, or Christina?
She's our local shaman and the caretaker of the shrine. Yes.
What's her name? Katerina?
Katerina, yes.
All right. Thank you for your time. We're going to go see what's going on through her.
Because she may not be. She's been feeling a little unwell lately, having to spend a lot of time in bed. Because she even missed the ceremony. Because
Okay.
which is unfortunate because Claire, which was the bride, was a childhood friend of hers.
That is very unusual.
Hmm.
Well, I do have some medical skills. Maybe I can help.
Yeah.
All right. So,
So at this point, almost everyone is dispersing, and in various states of sorrow, grief, or anger, just in the general situation.
okay.
So we're basically being left on our own at the moment, the two of us.
I'm gonna head over towards Katerina's place.
So the shrine is basically adjacent to a small house. I couldn't quite get this to match up exactly, so I'm going to give you a bit of a description. There's a small house, and as opposed to the two statues there, it's actually more or less is the shrine is where the two statues are, and they are a relief depicting two figures whom you think are in all likelihood a pair of gods.
Yeah.
Right. Give me a moment while I go through my notes to find a proper section on this. Oh. Right. So there are basically the statue or the relief, basically the sculpture, depicts two young men who are basically almost polar opposites. One is depicted in white and one is depicted in black. They're facing away from one another. One is holding a white sword upright, and the other is holding a black sword and is sticking it down into the earth. They look like they're being drawn almost to be twins, but twins who are basically in every aspect are being almost have been drawn or carved to be opposites of one another.
Okay. Do I recognize this? Is this well, not necessarily historical figures, but possibly some sort of religion?
This would indeed be a religion check if you want to.
Rolled a 10.
Plus your intelligence modifier.
I do not have religion, so
No, but you have it's an intelligence check then.
14.
14. That's not enough. You think they're depicting two gods, but that's the best you can come up with. Two, as far as you can tell, opposite gods. Though the shrine does seem to be dedicated to both of them.
All right, on to Katerina.
All right. The door is indeed closed. Are you going to knock?
Yes.
All right. All right. You knock on the door, and a moment passes, and basically by the time you're about getting ready to knock on the door again to see if anyone's home, the door does open.
All right.
And stepping out is a young woman who looks exhausted. Is the best you can describe. She is dressed in relatively plain clothes and just looks haggard is the best way to describe it.
All right. I'm going to watch her face very closely as I let her know what happened with recent events about the carriage.
All right. Roll an insight check then.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to roll this as well. All right. All right. So I also rolled that. I have an 18. You?
Terrible.
All
7.
right, what? 7? All right. All right. So what exactly do you say to her? Basically, you're informing her of the events just that we happened outside the village.
Yes, we were just outside the village and a horrible accident occurred where the horse-drawn carriage smashed through a bridge, plummeted down into the ravine, and all hands and animals were lost. Went down to check on them. They were definitely dead.
All right. Uh, it's kind of like everyone else in this village so far you've seen.
Yeah.
She looks saddened by this, but it's not unexpected. Though you do notice that I just raise an eyebrow a little bit at her reaction.
All right.
That's all you get at the moment. Why? Because you rolled really low.
I say, all right, this is ridiculous. Two young people have just died who just got married, and this is the kind of reaction I get. I mean, what's wrong with you people?
3 people, I say.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
The coachman, on the other hand, probably was a stranger.
Yeah, well, I mean, from what I've heard from some of the people here, one of them's your childhood friend.
Yes.
And
Claire and I were friends since childhood. I also knew Bran, her husband.
They just died horribly after just getting married. I mean, what kind of response is this? I almost want to shake you.
Do you?
That's what I say. I don't shake her.
Okay. I was just curious.
That's what
you tend to have a bit of a habit of being a bit of a loose cannon at times.
Yeah. Well, that is as loose as I'm going to get because she's already, as you said, very tired looking.
Yeah, she says, she says, I knew Claire and I've known her and Bran since we were all young. She says, but my breaking into tears and sobbing will not bring them back. She says, she doesn't look like just like disinterested. She's sad about this and she's resigned, but there's something about this that is striking you as a little odd.
Not just a little. A lot odd.
At this point, I speak and I say, you don't seem all that surprised, though. As we just told you, 2 childhood friends that you've known all your life are dead. That's right at this point. Yeah.
Some old guy was going on about a curse.
Old Nikolai has some vocal opinions about the current matters, yes.
All right. Give me your opinion. What's going on here?
She says, she steps out of her house at this point and points over to the shrine. She says, I take care of the shrine. Do you know of the gods it depicts?
Nope.
They are named Belobog and Chernobog, because they are twins. They are the twin deities of this entire region. And at one point, I believe they were worshipped as far as even Lyria itself in the ancient days. They are twin gods, one depicting all the good that people do, and one depicting all of the evil that they do. One depicts day, and the other depicts night. One life, one death. Which is, I think you can start to see what I'm trying to get at here.
Yeah, I understand the gods, but what's this reoccurring curse thing, and why has it been going on months?
There is an old legend in the village that when things are out of balance, one of the gods will send a champion to right it, and the other will send a champion to protect the people or harm them depending on what has happened. Okay. In some ways, some people believe that the village has had too much good luck in recent years, and that this curse, as people have decided to call it, has descended upon us as punishment. I do not believe this myself.
Things have been too good, so we gotta mess with them kind of gods? That's interesting.
The reverse is also true, though. when things go poorly, Belebog will send a champion of light to protect the people and to right wrongs. As I said, it's a very old custom of the village.
All right. So the champion wouldn't happen to be a white wolf that kind of glows, does it?
The champion of light can take many forms, as can the champion of darkness. They
Well,
will.
we have seen a black bat and a white wolf on our way here.
They can take many shapes besides these.
All right. So this is just something that happens and eventually just rectifies itself and then life goes on.
When one champion is summoned to right wrongs, the other is eventually summoned to drive it off. That is how the legend goes, at least. Because I do not know if that is indeed the case. And I'm going to ask for one more insight check here.
Terrible. 8.
All right, I have a 17. I seem to be carrying the insight checks at the moment.
Yeah.
But I can only hope that this entire situation will resolve itself soon. Just,
Yeah, you're losing people.
the one thing I do know is that old Nikolai's belief that this creature can simply be struck down and put back in its grave is not true.
Well, he's heading off to do something along those lines.
Because I hope he doesn't cause too many problems at the old cemetery. Because enough people have died recently that have been laid to rest. He says, let's not disturb them further.
All right. Girl at the tavern said this has been going on a few months, and you've been losing that many people for the last few months.
It isn't always, someone does not always die, but something tends to go wrong. It started small initially. Yeah, this says cattle would not produce milk. She says we would wait. We would farmers would awaken to find that foxes had gotten in through a tiny hole into their hen house, which had not been there the night before. It says people would suddenly would fall ill or misfortune would befall the village. It's only in the in the past few weeks that people have started dying. Whatever this is getting progressively worse.
This doesn't sound like balance to me. What do you do to rectify this? What do you do to end this? Do you have records here of the time this happened last time? Like what happened last time, what they did?
She says, the town does not have records, but have I have I have accounts of the old legends." She says, "I believe Nikolai might also keep his own personal records as the gravekeeper and cemetery caretaker."
So this is basically the church for this town, and you don't keep like birth records and that sort of stuff and just general happenings.
We do keep records, yes, but they are just not for outside eyes.
Okay. Well, you're not of any help. I'll bid you good day. I leave.
All right, so we leave, and I said, she has her doubts, is what I say as we leave, as to what she said there about this old legend writing itself effectively.
So our choices are investigate on our own or go talk to the old crankpot.
Yep. Unfortunately, I'm not sure who else in the town is going to have knowledge of these events.
Yeah, I know. I think you and I should sit down in a corner for a few minutes and both of us ritual cast detect magic.
I can ritual cast dark magic, yes.
Yeah, so actually, do I know detect magic?
I don't think you do. I think I'm usually the one that does that.
I know. Such a basic spell, too.
Well, we have been, we did study magic together, so we did pick what spells we would learn based on the fact that the other one would always be there to carry
Yeah,
all of us. Yeah, so I'm fairly certain I'm the only one who knows detect magic.
you're quite correct. I just checked.
Right. But if you want me to sit down and take 10 minutes to ritual cast it, I can.
And while you're doing that, I'm gonna have my owl do a spiral circle, circling out.
Mhm.
See what's going on up there. See what Nikolai is up to. Just keep an eye out and stuff.
All right, you can roll a perception check for your owl then.
16.
All right, 16. As your owl circles above, your owl does spot Nikolai and his dog. They've basically neared where the cemetery is, and they've gone through the gate, and they seem to be closing it behind them.
Yep.
And he looks like he's making way to basically a small cabin that is over in that area.
Yeah. He's got to live somewhere.
Yep. Your owl also notices a bat flying about. What?
Still circling the town, the bat?
Nope, it's just flying around. It seems to be. Also, this is not the giant bat that we saw earlier. This is just
Oh,
a
this is
regular
just
bat.
a regular bat.
Yes.
Out
However,
during the
it
day.
seems to be having difficulty flying at the moment and is catching your owl's attention quite a bit.
A drunk bat? Okay, hold on a sec. A lot of townsfolk were drinking.
Yes.
There are a number of things that could turn into bats, well, including
Yes.
me, really.
Yes. And
Um,
according to what we just heard, there should be at least, if that legend is true, there should be at least two creatures who can turn into any animal they want.
yes. Where is this bat?
It's up in the sky. It is struggling to keep itself aloft at the moment.
All right. My owl's gonna follow it, not drunkenly, just follow it. And I'm gonna write you a quick note. Leave it beside you because you're in the middle of concentrating on something.
This is going to be interesting.
Uh,
Leave me sitting cross-legged with a book with my spell book open, casting spells to myself while an ion stone orbits my head in this village.
yeah, there you go. And I'm gonna head towards where my owl is. It's not far, I assume.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Get my eyes on this bat as well.
All right. Your owl notices something else. What did you roll again? Just a curiosity?
16, I think.
16. All right. This is not the only bat.
Flock of bats.
Not a flock, but there are multiple bats flying through the area, but they all seem to be spreading out. There are 4 by your count. The other 3 are all behaving relatively normally. But your owl notices them as it's looking around as well and informs you that there are 4 bats, one of which is starting to right itself, but is still having a bit of difficulty. And they seem to just be spreading out.
How far away from you am
What, far away from me?
Yeah.
Well, basically, I've just sat off at the side where everyone's cleaning up. So you're
just found a chair?
probably
Yeah.
just a chair. It's like you probably like 15, maybe 20 feet away at this point.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
How far am I away from the drunken bat?
Well, the bat seems to be flying relatively low, so I'm just going to roll something. The bat is only 20 feet up in the air. It seems to be. It's righting itself now, but it was struggling to keep itself aloft for some reason.
Well, unfortunately, I could kill it. But that's kind of pointless. Gust of wind only works oriented from me. It can't orient in any other direction. It has to start at me, right?
Yes, it's a. But yes, it starts from you. I don't know if you can orientate it up.
I want to orient it down.
Oh, well, that's not going to work.
Because I want to knock this bat out of the air.
I take it you have sleep prepared.
Yeah, that crossed my mind too. I could blow off a 5th level scroll I have and just catch the thing.
I'll be perfectly honest, that'll probably be the biggest waste of that scroll I could think of. But is that what you want to do?
No.
Okay.
I would magic missile the thing first. No, he's only 20 feet from me.
Yeah.
I am going to burn another charge on the speak with animals. And I'm going to ask, are you drunk?
All right, so you take out the charm and you cast the spell, and for the second time today, the spell fails.
Yeah, I kind of thought it wasn't a bat. Well, not a real bat.
Despite the fact that this creature is in the shape of a bat, it is not an animal, at least according to the spell.
Question is it the big honking bat? Or is it a townsfolk who's changed into a bat? That is the problem. So this could either be a drunk person
That has turned into a bat. The bat does seem to have gotten over its stupor, or whatever it was, and is righting itself. So if you want to do anything, you're going to need to come to a decision.
Well, it's only 20 feet from me. I'm going to cast Mage Hand.
All right, you cast Mage Hand. So you can cause the hand to appear right beside the bat.
Right in front of its face.
Yep. What are you going to do with the Mage Hand?
It's not designed for this. It's not a combat spell. I'm going to try and catch the bat.
Okay, you're going to try and catch it. All right. This will be a contested roll. I'm going to give the bat a dexterity saving throw, and you're going to make a spell casting roll, which is adding your intelligence modifier to every roll. We'll see what happens. All right. 17 for the bat.
8.
8. Your mage hand fails to catch it, and the bat starts to fly away.
Try again.
All right. This will be a last chance of this. It'll be out of the range of mage hand after this.
Oh, that's better.
How much?
19.
21.
Ah.
It's close, but the mage hand misses, and the bat is the range. I'm also going to roll to see if anyone's noticing this. Wow. No one cares at all what's going on at the moment. That was a natural 1. All right. The bat is out of range of mage hand. Are you going to do anything else?
I'm going to have my owl harass it.
All right, then. So now you're sending an owl after a bat.
My owl is way bigger than a bat.
That's not the problem here. Well, technically they're in the same size category. Yeah. All right, so what are you going to have your owl do to the bat?
You ever seen crows flying and then there's this like a blackbird and they just sort of dive bomb it, just trying to harass it?
No, I've not actually seen that. But you
Really?
already have it dive bomb the bat. All right. This
Just
is, for all intents and purposes, this is a little outside the spell's roll. This is basically going to be you attempting making an attack roll with the owl.
don't want to hit it. I just want to make it go closer to the ground.
All right. You're basically trying to startle or intimidate the bat, which doesn't really work. I'm still going to break this down to an attack roll, but it'll be slightly in your favor. All right. Roll your attack for the owl, and I'll look up.
Don't bother.
Oh.
Rolled a 2. Even with modifiers, you'd have
Plus
to roll
3, but yeah, even Bat's armor class is not 5. Even with the fact I was making this a slightly lower DC than just armor class, your owl attempts to do this and fails to do so.
Yeah, so it's going to continue to harass it. Is it having an effect on it at all? Or is the bat flying further away, higher?
Well, that failed, so the bat is flying further away at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to try one more time. Get her to corral this bat.
All right.
Never mind.
Your owl fails to do so again. The bat is now flying further away from you. At its fly speed, which is only 30 feet around, but it's dashing. It's now 80 feet from where it was. It's 80 feet away from you, so it's gone 60 feet further by now.
So have I sobered it up?
Yeah, it's for all intents and purposes, it's much more alert now.
Is this a black or a brown bat?
It's just a bat, as far as you can tell.
Yes. A bat that did not respond to speak with animals.
Yes,
Is it black in color or brown in color?
it is black in color. Yes.
This is going to be a bit of a gamble. I magic missile it.
You cast magic. You cast magic missile.
One charge of the wand.
All right, so you take out your wand as a last ditch action, release 3 bolts of arcane force, which fly up into the sky. Well, I have a roll for this. All right, this is not quiet, but that's the second natural one in a row for no one cares. All right, so the 3 bolts of energy fly up into the air, and basically one goes straight forward, and the other 2 arc off to the side, and they all coalesce on the same side, and strike the bat. And there is an explosion of basically, for all intents and purposes, mist when the bolts hit. Did you roll damage, out of curiosity?
2 off of maximum.
Yeah. The bat had 1 hit point.
So why didn't animal speak with animals work?
Well, the thing you notice is, as you're waiting for the body to fall, no body falls.
I am very familiar with Find Familiar.
You are. And that cloud of mist that dissipated into looked similar to what happens when our familiar's physical forms are destroyed.
But not identical?
But not identical.
That requires an Arcana check.
Yeah.
Oh, good God. I'm not keeping the natural one. I'm going to burn a point of luck.
I mean, I think that was the only thing you could roll for this that would fail.
17.
That was the textbook depiction of a familiar leaving this plane due to you destroying its physical form. The difference between what that looked like and what our familiars does is our familiars are fey entities. You suspect this creature might come from a different plane of existence than the Feywild.
Yes, so...
And with that roll, looking around at the other bats and the way they're behaving from that roll, You think they're familiars too. And there is a spell that you know of called Flock of Familiars that does let you summon multiple familiars for an hour temporarily.
Yeah.
The spell normally lets you summon 3 at second level, but at third level you can summon 4.
Someone burned a third level spell slot to look for something.
And they don't seem to be. 1 second. The bats don't seem to really notice the fact there's one fewer of them. They're just flying around, and some of them are landed. One's landed on a tree and just is hanging upside down, just taking a look around. This looks like familiars, basically with things that we do with familiars, which is like keep an eye on the situation at times. That's what you think's going on here at the moment.
Okay. I just blew up someone's familiar.
Which means the summoner is definitely aware of that, yes.
And I know what it's like when I lose mine. There's usually some kind of reaction. Has my owl spotted anyone reacting as if I would react if,
You can roll a perception check.
It's not pleasant to have one go out of existence. Oh, good God. Never mind. 2 numbers and didn't even break 10.
No one seems to be acting in that way. The streets are basically clearing at this point. People are going home to either mourn or grieve in whatever other way over the recent tragedies. So it's by this point that my spell's finished. I see your note, and I look up and see you, and you're standing like 30 feet away.
Yeah, I know. Didn't get very far.
And I walk over and I say, I seem to have missed something.
We are not the only spellcaster in town.
Oh?
I just blew up someone's familiar. But
yeah, you overkilled the familiar.
It looked like they cast what's that swarm of familiars?
Flock of familiars.
Flock of familiars.
Yes. All right, so you fill me in on the situation. I can see the bats now. It says, well, are we going to go around and kill the other ones?
No, the only reason I killed that one, it was black in color and wasn't behaving properly.
The other bats, by the way, do look basically identical to the one that you blasted.
But yeah, this is only looking drunk.
It rolled a natural 1 on stealth, and your owl noticed it.
Yeah, I know that now. It wasn't anything.
To be fair, all the other ones rolled under your owl's perception check too.
Yeah. All right. This just might be one of the fakes, so it wouldn't really matter to them. All right. Deck Magic's going.
The fakes?
The replicas. They're not real familiars, are they?
No. They are. They're real familiars. You summon them. The same way as it works the same way as Find Familiar does, except you get multiples, but you only get them for an hour. And if you have an existing familiar like we do, you get 1 fewer when you cast a spell because one of them counts. But that one still gets to stick around.
All right.
Basically, it just lets you have multiple familiars for 1 hour.
We have 10 minutes.
Yes.
Let's do a pattern.
All right. Are we just going along through the village?
Yeah. Well, we are roughly right here.
Yes. So I can basically turn in a circle for all intents and purposes and just scry the immediate area for magic.
Yeah, do that. And then we'll head out here, head down here, and as much of this as we can get in 10 minutes.
All right. So just initially, which is the tavern, and the shrine, and the shaman's house.
Yep.
Just circling that area. There's no magic in that vicinity. That's the initial thing we go for. All right. So I'm going to ask for an investigation check with advantage at this point, just to see how long this takes, mostly.
22.
22. All right. This is not a very big town.
Oh, sorry. 23.
So basically, we are able to go in the most efficient pattern we can possibly think of and going along the town and searching the entire every building, or at least the areas we're looking for magic. All right, here's a question. Does a familiar? Well, we know they're familiars. I don't know, based on the language of detect magic, if a familiar registers as magical. I don't think so. It is a summoned creature, but it isn't an active spell, or it's odd. That's a gray area.
All right, a familiar, I would say, does not radiate magic.
No.
Otherwise, it'd be really stupid.
Yeah. Otherwise, everyone with detect magic will be able to recognize a familiar. That doesn't matter. We know they're familiars.
The flock of familiars might be a different story because that is an active spell.
Well, that is an active spell, but it's not important either way because we know about them.
Here's a question. If I'm concentrating on a spell, which I assume you have to do for flock of familiars.
Flock of familiars is not concentration.
Oh, never mind then. All right, while you're doing your scrying for magic, I'm going to be eyeballing the people because I know whenever I will look through the eyes of my familiar, I have to go deaf and blind, and I'm hanging onto a wall usually.
Yes, and as far as you know, that that works the same as with flock familiars.
All right, so I am going to look for someone who's doing that.
All right, you can roll a perception check for that.
Oh, I'm finally out of the doldrums. 20.
All right. The one problem with what you're asking for as we're going around town is basically people have gone back into all the buildings now. The streets are basically deserted. So you kind of have to look inside windows to take a look to see if anyone's doing that.
Peeping Tom it is.
Right. I'm going to roll one more reaction roll. Oh, now they care. 2 natural ones to an 18 for some reason. It's not a natural 20, so you're not suddenly being pelted with like eggs or fruit. But quite a few people, as you look into their houses, close the drapes or curtains or whatever they have.
The good thing about that is,
yeah,
they are exactly the kind of person I'm not looking for.
Yeah, because they are definitely responding to what you're doing.
Exactly. Well, I'm looking for someone who is not doing anything about me doing that.
All right. So by the end of what takes about 5 minutes, so half of the detect magic spell based on the very good roll on the investigation check, we've walked the entirety of the village, and I've detected no magic active at the moment. Right. Look, your voyeuristic attempt to basically look in every building has resulted in quite a few drawn curtains and closed drapes, and you haven't really seen anything out of the ordinary, I'm afraid.
Well, that is not leading us anywhere.
You are able to still keep an eye on all the familiars because with that check, though, because you know where they are and you can see them. They're just fleeing around and keeping an eye on things. They're also all keeping their distance from us.
I'm gonna walk up to one of them.
It takes flight and starts flapping off.
I'm going to say, not in a loud voice because familiar bat has good hearing. I'm going to say, well, I know you're a familiar, and I know someone's, keeping an eye on things. We're here to help. If you're interested in help, go to the shrine. We'll be there.
All right.
Go to the shrine.
Okay, so we go to the shrine.
Yep.
How long are we going to be waiting here for? Is the question I now ask.
Well, your detect magic is going to be going.
Okay, so we are going to be waiting here for the remaining 5 minutes of my spell, at the very least.
Well, it's probably going to be even longer than that because it took a minute or two to get to the bat, deliver my message, and walk over to the shrine. So Yeah, your detect magic is long gone.
All right, so the spell is expired. So 5 minutes have gone by. Are we still waiting? No
Nothing's
one's shown
happened.
up yet. Sorry,
Nothing's happened.
nothing. No one's shown up yet. There's no movement really, as far as we can tell.
How long has it been since the bat showed up?
The bats showed up basically around the same time I started ritual casting detect magic, so close to 20 minutes.
They're good for almost another 40 minutes.
Yeah. And near as you can tell, they're just keeping an eye on things. And by this point, definitely keeping an eye on us.
All right. It's probably about midday by now. We'll have lunch. Yeah, sit down.
So we're gonna go over to, I guess. Oh, we're not going to the inn. We're just gonna sit down.
I want to be outside. I
Okay.
want to have. I keep pointing at the screen. This is the inn. Maybe we'll get an outside table, one of the chairs.
Most of
I
the tables are being left set up for the moment. Yeah, you don't know if that's
keep an
normal or
eye on
not.
the shrine.
Okay.
I'm gonna have a quick meal.
So we're gonna have our lunch for the day.
Do arcane recovery.
Yep, you can get back your 4th level spell slot.
Yep.
Neither of us are injured, so that's really all we're going to be able to do.
Yes. And then that is an hour.
All right, so an hour later, it's basically just as we're packing up our mess kit and stuff and going, we see someone literally running over towards the shrine.
Bats are all gone.
An hour's gone by, so yeah, the bats are gone.
I could recast it.
Yep, that we don't see any at the moment.
I go to the shrine, not running. Walk over. What do I see? What kind of person am I looking at?
You see basically a young man, about in the same age category you think as some of the other people who seem to be involved in the the basically the wedding. So about the same age as the bride and groom and Katerina as well. And just a young man, looks like a villager. Looks to be a bit out of breath.
Okay.
Okay. And is basically reaches the shrine almost the same time we do.
I say to this young gentleman, well, same age as us, really. Did you get my message?
Message? This
Right. I was just curious.
it says it says I was it says my name's Crispin. It says I was just
Not horse fry.
what? It says
It's Crispin horse fry.
I got the reference, he doesn't.
No. Okay.
He says I was just oh,
Not
oh,
very many people run to a shrine. Why are you here?
this, this, I was just over at the cemetery. Says paying my respects to says to Claire and Bran. Says and old Nikolai said that he wanted to pass a message on to the two of you. Says that there was some strange creature down by it says down by the coast. It says he thought it would be good to pass it on to you. That's what he says.
All right. I don't think they even hauled Claire and Bran out of the ravine yet.
No, but there might be a place to pay respects to, though.
Hmm. All right. Let's head down this road the way he came.
Yeah, that's towards the cemetery, as far as we know.
Yep. Head that way. And
The coast is the other direction. It says.
then how would Nikolai know? Because isn't he down? Which way is the coast?
Well, the coast is to the west from where we are. which is down the other road as far as we know.
Okay. And turn around. Head to the coast.
So we're gonna head down that way.
Yep. This close to fireballing this town, I tell you.
Why? They've done nothing really.
That's it. They're just not reacting like anything normal. Everything's just weird. Something's going on here. Last time we had this, it was a house full of possessed or controlled vampire thralls.
I'm drawing a blank on what you're referencing there, but okay. I don't think it was in this campaign.
This was the mansion, the thunder and lightning, the lady who had.
Oh yes. Now I am remembering what you're talking about. Yeah,
they're all acting weird.
that's interesting because I just edited that video recently.
Yeah, I know. It was your scenario on top of it all.
I know.
Off to the coast we go.
Off the coast we go. All right. So as we're heading down, basically this road leads to, for all intents and purposes, is where a bunch of fishing boats are being, and they're all just moored. Basically, there's not really a dock. They basically just have been dragged on shore. Yeah. This is a village where everyone knows everyone, so they don't seem to feel the need to probably secure boats too much.
Well, they must from the weather, but that's about it.
Yeah, basically that's about it. But they're not like, there's no dock to tie things up at, and there's no harbor master. They're just basically dragged ashore away from the river and probably covered in tarps.
All right.
All right. May I say, so what are we looking for?
I have no idea. Some sort of creature. Have Mal do a fly around. See if there's anything unusual.
All right.
I'm wasting all the good rolls on this. 21.
All right. You see, your owl sees a number of shapes moving just in the water.
Shapes of what?
You rolled a
21.
21. That's good enough, I think. They kind of look vaguely like the shapes of a person. It's like something is moving under the water that looks vaguely humanoid.
Are they swimming or walking?
Swimming.
Under the water.
Under the water.
How far under the water?
They're just off from the shore at this point.
Yeah, but people usually have
probably about 15 feet off into the water.
Okay. People usually need to breathe every now and then, except us.
Yeah, I was gonna say, excuse me. I do not require that. I can breathe underwater.
Yeah. What are the odds there's a group of water-breathing people heading our way?
Based on the number of silhouettes you can see under the water, you think there are 6 of them.
Okay. I'm going to put my hand on your shoulder for a second, and I look through my owl's eyes as she passes over the top of them. Are the swimming motions smooth and fluid, or are they jerky and haphazard?
They're relatively smooth.
I pick up a rock, cast light on it, and chuck it into the water. It's only 15 feet, so not a big throw.
I will ask for a dexterity check just to see how far you can throw this.
It's 15 feet.
It's not going to be too high a DC, but we've rolled ones before.
Another 21.
You get it exactly 15 feet in the middle of all of the shadows moving in the water.
Yep. Light them up.
All right. Several of them burst up from the water at this.
Yep.
And you can get a good look at them from where we are because they're being lit up from beneath the water. because the basically the sandbar underneath under the water, basically the ground, is not 40 feet deep.
Okay.
So they're lit up. We've never seen creatures look exactly like this before.
Well, you're an aquatic individual.
They are not water genasies. That we can be certain of. They are not the leech-like creatures we encountered last time, which was a possibility that may have entered your mind based on proximity.
Yeah.
They look humanoid, but there's just something really off about them. And I'm just going to ask for a medicine check from you.
19.
That's more than enough. You've seen drowned bodies before. These look like the bodies of drowned people that are moving.
Aquatic zombies. Isn't that precious? Okay.
And they see us, and we see them.
And we roll for initiative?
And we roll for initiative, yeah.
All right. Aquatic zombies. There's a new twist. Just when you didn't like zombies enough. Now we
It's
got
actually not that new, but yeah.
Yeah, I've never met them before.
No, but I'm fairly certain a lot of other people in the audience are going to know what these things are. All right, so what'd you roll?
19.
All right, I have a 13. Oh wait, no, I have a 15. Sorry, I have a 13 is what I rolled. And they have an 8.
All right. Just because this town is frustrating the crap out of me, and I want to blow off some steam.
This might be a waste of me writing in all the hit point totals here.
I am going to fireball the buggers.
I mean, all right, you're casting fireball. Well, all of them, basically, because they're all within 40 feet of one another, because they're all being lit up by the light spell.
Yep. And I have a nice target, well lit up.
All right, hang on. I need to find 60/20s for this because I'm rolling individual saving throws here.
Oh, one of these days I'll roll a good fireball, but not today.
What did you roll?
Total of 26.
26. Okay, so one rolled a 20 total.
Okay.
The next rolled an 18 total.
Okay.
The third rolled a 5.
Yep.
The fourth rolled a 14. Sorry, 13.
Yep.
The fifth rolled a 17, and the last one rolled an 18.
2 fails and 4 passes.
All right, the fireball detonates.
Yep.
And there's lots of steam as it detonates over water.
Yep.
Very cold water, I might also add.
Yep.
And when the steam clears, there are 2 bodies floating in the water and 4 creatures that are basically on fire and in a lot of pain. Like, when you cast that spell, you're like, okay, this is probably going to be the best fireball. But this has exceeded your expectations. Even though those creatures managed to evade some of the fire, they're being burned quite thoroughly. These creatures seem vulnerable to fire.
Well, I think I'm going to save that fireball, I did it. Okay. I'll take what I can get.
Yeah, they're in rough shape.
Oh, they're undead.
Yeah, they're undead. So, they started that way, but still. Anything else?
How far are they away from me?
They're 15 feet out.
standing right at the water's edge.
No, they're 15 feet out from the water's edge.
So they're 20 feet away from me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so we kind of actually felt the heat from the fireball.
I'm going to back up 30 feet.
All right, you back up 30 feet.
Request that you join me in a moment.
Yeah, but I'm going to probably do something else first.
Yeah.
All right, I do not know fireball.
You don't know any fire spells.
No, I do not. However, I do know another area effect spell that works quite well in this situation.
Gonna freeze little buggers.
They're all in water, and they seem to take a lot of damage. I don't know if I don't know if it means they're resistant to cold or not. Let's see if I want to do that, or if I want to try my hand at something else. Alright, I will try and cast Frost Breath on them. However, there's one big difference between Fireball and Frost Breath.
Yeah.
It's a cone. Whereas your spell was a radius and you could literally point in the center and get all of them, I have to get... I'm going to get... Yeah. One fewer, unfortunately. I can only aim it to the point. There's two off to the side and there's two off to one side. I have to aim it in the middle a little bit to try and get even three of them.
Okay.
So one is getting a free pass from this spell.
Okay.
Alright, this is their constitution. Alright, one rolled a 9, one a 13, and one 19.
Oh, one passes.
One passes. 3d10 cold. Oh wow, if you thought your fireball was sad. I rolled 10 points of cold damage.
Okay.
4, 2. Alright, so one only takes half. So, basically, what I did was, there's now two off to the side, one of which is badly burned, one of which is now badly burned and slightly frostbitten, and two of which are basically blocks of ice floating in the off in the coast here.
Start heading downstream or whatever, down with the tide.
Yeah. And after I do that, I'm going to move back.
Alright.
I can't move back as far. I can only move back 20 feet because I did have to position for that a little bit.
Alright, so what are the zombies doing?
Alright, now we come to the drowned dead. Whom there are far fewer of than there were 6 seconds ago. Alright. Well, they're not intelligent.
Yeah. No sense of self-preservation.
They swim to shore. You notice one thing that is massively different between them and other zombies is they don't have the shambling gait of other zombies, and they are natural swimmers by the looks of it.
Okay.
So they get 15 feet to shore, and then they move 15 feet inland, and then they both dash to get to me, basically, because I'm the nearest threat.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They seem to be about as quick on land as they are in the water, and they have about the same move rate you and I do.
Alright.
So you're fighting basically undead versions of me, almost, for movement-wise.
Interesting analogy.
They have the same speed on land and water as I do. It's based on that. So they're both next to me.
Yep.
And your turn.
Fireball.
Alright, which one?
The healthiest looking one.
Alright. So the one I didn't get hit with Frost Breath, basically. Because telling health-wise on undead things is going to be interesting.
Well, less damage.
Alright. Yeah, I know what you're going for, so...
Alright. Give me a good number. Would a 14 hit these things?
Yes. 14 hits.
They don't have to reroll, which is kind of nice.
2d10 fire damage.
Times 2 left.
I think this thing's going up.
28 points of damage.
Yeah, you overkill it. It is a smoldering, burning carcass that falls backwards onto the basically beach. And it is burning quite well.
And I can't do anything else. So.
And you cannot do anything else now.
I
take it, are you going to move back at all? Move at all?
No, I'm gonna move up with you.
Okay, so you're going to move up into melee with...
No, I want to. I'll end up having disadvantage over next attack roll. So
Alright. Alright, so my turn. Well, these things didn't seem to be resistant to cold at all.
Yep.
So I was going to hit with Frostbite because I saw the fact that this one's even more damage than the one you did, and it went down relatively well. Let's see if this works. No, that's a 22. Sorry, 21 total. It shrugs off my cantrip, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been thinking about picking up Ray of Frost. I think I need to. Just for situations like this.
Or a fire spell.
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. So, I'm not going to move because it'll get an attack of opportunity.
Yep.
So, its turn. Alright, so the Drowned Dead, their sole remaining one, is going to take a multi-attack, and it's going to take both its claws, which it does have, like actual claws, instead of place of fingernails, and take 2 swings at me.
Don't forget about the 2 that are frozen. They may want to break free.
No, they're dead.
Oh.
They're blocks of ice. No, they failed.
Okay.
Alright, so one of those is a 12, which is my armor class, and the other one's a 21. So you cast shield, and I think I'd rather just save the... spell slot.
Alright.
If these are anything like zombies, they probably aren't going to do too much damage. 6. Oh, I say that.
Of course,
Alright.
Clawed with putrefied fingers.
Yeah, so the first blow is nasty. It's like big claw across the torso. And the other one is a bit more grazing across the shoulder. But the first claw attack does 8 damage, and the second one does 6. So I take a total of 14 points of slashing damage.
Ow.
Alright, that was not pleasant, I say, but we've had worse hits.
Oh, yeah. Alright. Finish this bugger off. 23 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
Oh, what a waste. 36 points of damage.
Firebolt? So 18, I think, is the total, and you doubled it, right?
Yep.
I don't think you could roll under this thing's hit points, because I think it had 4 hit points left, so I think that's the minimum damage you could do. So it dies.
Yeah.
And it lands on the ground, smoldering and burning.
Yeah.
And I say, looking down at the thing, all right. I say, rubbing my injury. Well, that was a little painful, but not too bad.
Don't have any bugs crawling around your system that you need to attention for?
I didn't have to make any Constitution saving throws, no.
All right.
I said, so there is absolutely no way that these things are what's plaguing this town.
Also, Nikolai is on the other end of town.
Yeah.
How did he know that these zombies swimming under the water were
waiting in ambush for us by the looks of it?
How would he know?
I think we need to have a talk with Crispin.
What's his name?
Crispin.
No,
that was the guy
for some reason. The old dude.
Nikolai, yeah. Well, Crispin's the one who directed us here.
True. We don't know the other guy even knew about them. All right.
One way or the other, I think we need to talk to one of them, I say.
Both of them.
Yep. And we will do that after a break.
All right.